is News Talk.
Hello there, welcome along to this evening's Off the Ball. 6 games tonight in the Premier League, including Man City away to Newcastle, maybe a Rafa Benitez-shaped banana skin for Man City. We have Manchester United at home to Burnley. We have all the updates all evening. Arsenal against Cardiff, Fulham, Brighton, Wolves against West Ham, and Huddersfield against Everton. Luke Jensen joins us after 8 o'clock this evening. His thoughts on tennis's new superstar, Naomi Osaka, her second Grand Slam win. And Novak Djokovic wins the French Open, and suddenly he's holding all Grand Slams. He's already done it, but would be quite the achievement as he tries to chase down Roger Federer's 20 Grand Slams. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Dan McDonnell is here in studio. Hello.
Hi, Joe.
Of the Irish Independent, of course, Dan.
Of course.
And John, I think... well, the term broadcasting history might be too strong a word, but John Duggan in on a news round.
Joe, this is just a special occasion, and it's like Richie is unwell, so Richie will be back in his rightful place tomorrow. So, by popular demand or unpopular demand, I've stepped into the breach.
The dress code has gone up and stepped up a notch here. To be fair, you know.
Yeah. The blazer's on, for those of you who can't see. I got a funny story about this blazer. I won 25 grand on a golf bet in 2003, and I'm not, this is actually was in my book, and I went to this shop and spent 2 grand on clothes, and blazer's one of the things I bought 15 years ago, and I'm still wearing it. Probably haven't bought clothes since then, but...
Why would you? Look at that blazer.
I remember just leaving the shop, and I said, I wouldn't want to be doing this every week, and he goes, you get what you pay for.
Oh, it's true. Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, who knows what kind of journey we're headed off into.
Well, it could be an Ask John Duggan anything half hour, but they'll probably be a lot more interesting than the sport, but actually, no, that's just an egotistical thing.
Hashtag Ask John Duggan anything. And so it begins.
Where could that go?
Jesus, cold outside. Snow this evening, John. I was reading a lengthy, I think it was in the New York Times piece last night explaining why, even though the weather is quite cold, climate change not a hoax. It's still definitely happening. That was the conclusion at the end. Even though we're getting this very cold weather, it is definitely not a Chinese conspiracy, as Donald Trump has suggested it might be.
No, it is pretty chilly out there this evening.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's no danger of any fixtures or anything being a threat this week, though, under threat this week.
Not that we've heard, and we see them all go this evening. The team news is trickling in. We'll go around to the grounds at about 7:30 or so and take you through the various games. John, as we kick off this news round, we are starting with the Premier League action.
We are, Joe, and Manchester City, of course, aiming to move within a point of Premier League leaders Liverpool with a win at Newcastle United. 8 o'clock the start time at St James's Park. Pep Guardiola's side have scored 29 goals in all competitions since they last conceded. Here is the team: Ederson, Walker, Danilo, Stones, Laporte, Fernandinho, David Silva, De Bruyne, Sterling, Sané and Aguero. So 5 changes for City. In come Laporte, David Silva, Sterling, Sané and Aguero. Manchester United also underway at 8 o'clock against Burnley at Old Trafford. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hoping to lead the Red Devils to a 9th straight victory since taking over as caretaker boss when they host the Clarets at Old Trafford. And the team for United: De Gea, Young, the captain, Lindelof, Jones, Shaw, Matic, Andreas Pereira, Pogba, Mata, Rashford and Lukaku. So 2 changes: Alexis Sanchez and Jesse Lingard dropping to the bench, Pereira and Lukaku coming in. Other matches starting at 7:45. Arsenal against Cardiff, Mesut Ozil captaining the Gunners. Fulham against Brighton, Huddersfield versus Everton, and Wolves with Matt Doherty back against West Ham. 6 matches in the Premier League this evening.
Well done. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looking for 9 in a row, unbeaten, and Rafa Benitez plotting against Manchester City this evening. So we're looking ahead to all these games a bit later on. For United, that team, it takes on a familiar pattern and shape already, doesn't it? Mata comes in, Lukaku's there, Rashford either side of him, and the rest of the team starting to have a familiar feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good fixture for them. You would think that it will be 9 tonight. Where do you stand on the Ole Gunnar amateur at this stage? Are you now definitely? You were like 2 games ago. You were pretty much sold on it for romantic reasons. Now is it just a done deal now in your head that this definitely happens? How many more wins does he need to get to be a cert for the job?
When you said the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer-ometer, what are my options here in terms of a metric?
Options are: it'll be grand. He can stay till the end of the season.
Okay.
We need any replacement, whoever it might be, that would be preferable to this. That's the worst end, lower end of the scale, and the highest end of the scale is just give it to him now.
I am at the, if Pochettino doesn't want it, he absolutely gets it.
Oh, so you haven't actually moved on dramatically that much?
Well, February is a rather scary month. PSG twice, Chelsea in the Cup, Arsenal away again in the league this time. There are some tricky fixtures, Liverpool. So the end of February, I think I'm reserving judgment.
Yeah.
But I certainly would not be disappointed or shocked if they come out and said, you know what, we've seen enough.
Just not on a massively long-term deal. That's the thing.
Not a 6-year deal, no, I wouldn't think so.
Not a Moyes length contract.
But they have to get it right. I mean, there've been a lot of changes now. There's been Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho. They need to get the next one right. And I think, like, one of the big mistakes was losing Mike Phelan a few years ago, and him coming back in has been a big factor, I think, and obviously with Michael Carrick there as well, in shaping this resurgence. Obviously, the players have got playing with freedom. But I don't think it's Pochettino or Solskjaer. I think that obviously the likes of Zinedine Zidane surely should come into the equation as well. Like,
Solskjaer beats Zidane for me.
Does he?
I think so, yeah.
Well, he's there already.
I have major reservations about Zidane coming in.
Why major?
Because I just think Real Madrid is a close to unique basket case phenomenon as well. And it was a certain skill set required to massage all those egos and almost stand off and let them do their thing. I think Manchester United is a totally different proposition. That was him almost managing the last 18 months of a team headed for transition, an aging team with a superstar. And he did it beautifully.
Won 3 Champions Leagues in a row.
He did it beautifully. He managed that home stretch. I know it's a ridiculous thing to dismiss that. I just feel there was something approaching unique about those set of circumstances. And Zidane, you can't say unproven. You can't say unproven. But there's a question mark there.
He'd be considered, I mean, it is mad to think of with his track record, but just because he doesn't necessarily have that track record in England, it would be viewed as a gamble in some way. You know, how would he adjust to it? You know, and I can see why you would be with Solskjaer ahead of him, just because he knows the club. You know, whatever that means.
Sounds the DNA.
Yeah, but it is. I don't know where the other outstanding candidates is. Is there not some theory that Zidane is going to be Qatar's man for 2022 at some point? And you know, that's where someone's going to get that gig eventually. You know, no Mourinho or.
Why would you want that?
Yeah.
Why would you want that?
Well, one reason.
No, but that reason
beyond that. Yeah.
That blazer didn't pay for itself, John.
Yeah, I earned that blazer.
Is that right?
Steve Flesh, the New Orleans Classic.
So we'll go through all the team news in about 15 minutes time or so, go around the grounds, those games kicking off, mostly at 7:45, the 2 Manchester clubs in action at 8 o'clock. So the rugby today, there were press conferences.
Yeah, well, there's only the small matter of Ireland against England in the Six Nations opener at Lansdowne Road on Saturday. And the Ireland forwards coach Simon Easterby says they're paying little attention to John Mitchell's claim that Ireland will try to bore England in the Six Nations. The England defence coach made the assertion yesterday that Joe Schmidt's team will be resilient and will deploy a boring style of rugby at the Aviva Stadium. Easterby says the Irish camp are not concerned by the comments.
I think it's a headline. I think if you look at the article and read a bit more about what he actually said, I don't think it's there's too much to read into that. We focus on what we do. We're good at what we do, and there'll always be opinion about whatever team is playing, however team plays, no matter how good they are, how poor they are. There's always going to be an opinion, and we'll take that in our stride and look forward to creating a game on the weekend that we feel we're capable of.
Do you almost take that as a backhanded compliment with the success that you've had? If the opposition are trying to get under your skin, do you look at it and think, okay, well, that's good for us?
No, guys use motivation or things like that in whatever way they want individually. But I think for us as a team and as a squad, we don't take too much sort of interest in what's been said outside of that. It is what it is, I think it's like I say, it's a bit of a headline, and we're just focusing on how good we can be come the weekend, and let's see how the game goes.
If hopefully not, but if anything was happening to your first choice locks, do you think the likes of
was that Steve-O cut out abruptly?
Yeah.
Midway through a question.
John Mitchell cut the cable. Did John Mitchell's comments stir your post-colonial blood then, Dan?
No. But I mean, I see you're going to have to. You're the rugby man here, Joe. You can tell me. Are Ireland like this boring team that's hated by the purists?
No.
Like, do they tick the box? Are they like the
Incredibly efficient.
Efficient. Oh, that's a dangerous word. So they're not like the great entertainers. They're not like.
Who are the great entertainers?
Well, I don't know. You tell me who the great entertainers in rugby are. I'm sure they exist.
The Barbarians, 1973.
Yeah,
Up there, yeah.
Who are the rest? I mean, I'm looking for you to educate me on this topic.
Is it a sport that's lends itself to entertainment like it used to? Not maybe
I don't
not.
think so. I think increasingly the test arena is a fairly pragmatic place.
It's just brutal and in the sort of.
It's very process-driven, it seems. Now, obviously, Ireland are especially process-driven.
But if you look at the New Zealand game, how many mistakes were there? Very few.
Yeah.
And that's the level of elite process-based rugby that they're playing. This is just, I mean, it's almost like a whoopee cushion of a controversy. There's nothing really to say here, to see here. John, this is all about the game.
It's the Tuesday of Ireland-England. This is an outrage.
Hold up.
This is an outrage.
So are they like? So
I'm just absolutely supine in terms of getting exercised by any of this.
So Ireland, are they just they're like an Italian team in the early 90s, just like cynical. They just win. That's what they do.
No, they're not cynical.
No.
They're not cynical.
No.
They're not cynical. They have a fairly well thought out, rigid game plan which suits the players. Is a nightmare to play against because they make virtually no mistakes. And whenever they get the ball, they don't give it away. They just keep inching their way up the field, either with the occasional box kick or just going through phase after phase after phase. They're averaging about 140 rucks a game, which is way more than anybody else. So they are just inching their way up, making no mistakes. And once they get in your 22, they ain't leaving until they get over the try line. Now, they're not doing 6 offloads and setting your hair on fire to do it. They'll inch for a lot of those tries.
But you'll still have the Stockdale moments as well.
I was just going to say, and the standard try in Twickenham, this amazing. So you've got the basics, which are phenomenal, and then you throw in a sprinkling of.
I think you're offended, Joe. I sense that you are offended with these comments.
It is.
I can feel your patriotism
mode.
There's patriotism stirring in you here.
The more I think about it, and then a sprinkling of some Joe Schmidt set piece mastery, like the standard try in Twickenham. Remember the furlong spin? Do you remember that? Okay, well there was a stunningly good try which was dreamt up in Joe Schmidt's head. And there was a brilliant move, the Stockdale try against New Zealand. Again, that was a pre-planned move. So there's a sprinkling of they could cut a team open here with some real.
So this is harsh. This is an insult.
Well, I mean, he said they're going to try and bore the shit out of us as their game plan. It's obviously an insult.
Yeah, I can feel your anger here. You know,
I'm not angry. I'm not angry.
But that's almost a backhanded compliment from Mitchell. That it's about winning now, and Ireland are win matches. And
totally,
the success rate is just phenomenal from Schmidt.
Like
so
they must be a nightmare to play against because you almost know they're going to make virtually no mistakes. There's this wall of green coming at you, and they're just so well drilled. It feels probably impenetrable at times.
Joey Carberry, he says he remains in good terms with Leinster's Johnny Sexton after last month's Interpro derby at Thomond Park. The World Player of the Year, Sexton clashed with his former Leinster and current Ireland teammate in the heated Pro 14 game. But Carberry says incidents just happen in big games and that both players are now focused on the Six Nations. And Carberry says it's healthy competition for the Ireland 10 shirt.
Everyone in this group is trying to make Ireland better. And if that makes the players better, which I think competition does, then that's a winning environment. So the more we make each other, push each other, and that will benefit each other and then obviously benefit Ireland. So nothing's changed. I think the more competition that's there, the better. For both of us, it makes us a top of our game.
Adam Griggs is named his team?
Yes, Joe, a mix of youth and experience on Ireland's team to face England in the Women's Six Nations opener at Donnybrook this Friday evening. Captain Ciara Griffin fit to lead the team from number 8, with Claire Molloy and Juliet Short joining her in the back row. Six Nations winner Senia Napo has been selected at outside centre. Alison Miller is on the bench, and cap trio Linda Jugang, Anne-Marie O'Hara and Catherine Dane have also been named among the replacements. And the Ireland head coach Adam Griggs says there's no better challenge than hosting the world's number 2 side.
I think it's going to be a huge task because, as you say, they've been in camp now for the month of January full time, and whether they say that hasn't helped them that much on the field or not, I'm not sure. But I guess for us, we want to make sure that we're going to be putting out a performance that's representative of ourselves and the work we've done. You know, it's important for us. We spoke about it as a group that we want to be a team that's really hard to beat. And us putting our best performance in is probably will be capable of that. So we just want to make sure that when we go out on Friday night that England know they're in a test match and we're putting our best foot forward. And I think if we can do that, you'll see us stretch them. You know, we're looking back at the game in November, and we really put them under a lot of pressure in terms of some of the tries we scored, but even our ball retention. We held on to position for the ball a lot longer than we might have before, and if you can do that consistently through a game, well, then they're going to break down a lot more. So we probably just haven't been in that zone before, but I'm hoping this Friday that we can show that.
Yeah, they're up against it, but hopefully it goes well. Obviously, England professional, Ireland not. Ciara Griffin, the captain you mentioned there, John, I was listening to an interview she did over on 5 Live. A bit of a legend. She's a primary school teacher, captain of Ireland and a farmer, just to keep herself going.
That is just so admirable, really.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
I think these stories need to be told more of the human interest and what people are doing just to get the show on the road and to line out for your country. It's very much to be admired.
She was saying during Six Nations time she won't give her dad as much of a hand on the farm, in fairness. She's got a few things going on, but captain her country as well. So that's on Friday night. Dan just mentioned to me there, clearly he's got a reason for this, because you may have seen on social media there was the much anticipated Culshies versus Dubs off the ball charity game. It was on yesterday out at Abbottstown. Brian Kerr, John Giles, Kevin Kilban, Mossy Quinn, most of the off the ball team were involved. Dan McDonnell played. I can report now it finished 2-1 to the Culshies.
Well, there was a lot of tension in this game from last week. Did
you put in any late hits, Dan?
No, I didn't get involved in any late hits. We had Brian Kerr and John Giles sort of.
Who was your manager?
We had Kerr. Kerr was in charge of the Culshies team.
And did he take it seriously, or was he hands on?
He brought a lot to it. You get a bit of a team talk.
What did he say?
He was just trying to get us going for the match, get us into a shape, into a structure. See, the problem with the team talk was that Kevin Kilban wasn't there because he was late.
Typical.
So we had this 100 plus caps international who
slept in,
wasn't there.
Right.
And I think that threw the Dubs out of their stride a bit, because
their game plan was all around stopping Kilban.
Well, it wasn't about stopping Kilban, it was about hurting Kilban after the barbs last week.
Okay.
Dave McIntyre turned up with a point to prove. I saw Dave when I went in, and he was doing a bit of a warm up, and he said hello, but there was nothing going on. He wasn't engaged in the discussion. You could sense that Kilban's comments had really hurt him. Probably hurt his family. You could just sense in Dave. He was saying hello, but he wasn't really. There was just a stare.
Okay.
I think he was wondering where Kilban was. And Kilban, of course, at the time, there was a deadness in his eyes too, but for slightly different reasons. He arrived in late and then spent most of the game arguing with the referee, which was not maybe what you would have expected.
Not the spirit of the game.
No. I think there's more spirits in his case.
Now.
But he was nipping away at the referee, brought the odd bits of quality to the match. But he was responsible for the goal that our side conceded as well.
This, by the way, was all in aid of the Irish Heart Foundation's Show Some Heart for the Perfect Match campaign, where they want you all out there to have your own matches, and you can sign up at irishheart.ie/perfect match, and we wanted to get involved and do it. I see the player ratings were put up. You did quite well.
You hear about people looking at player ratings and they just scroll down to their own one. So naturally, I scrolled straight down to my own and didn't read
that must be
others.
strange, because you're doing them for the national team and everything.
they're an
you feel a bit more sympathy now.
A newfound perspective on the horror of the match.
But I've always, I know the horror of the player ratings, but I don't know who.
You got a call from a player who wasn't happy with one?
Players. No, I never got a call. I've never got a call. But
what player rating did you get? Who did? Darren Cleary did the player ratings?
I think it was. There was no byline on it. Now I actually
Typical.
I will say I got an 8, which was. I have to say it's one of the times that a player would look at a rating and go, that was actually too high. It was. I don't know what it was about.
What did you do to merit an 8?
I scored a goal, which the whole point of the story is if you score a goal, it can mask a lot of other deficiencies.
That's worth at least 2 points.
Brian Kerr was taking me off. He basically said to me I was coming off at the next stoppage, and I was like, well, this is a disaster. I've done nothing for the last 5 minutes, and Kerr's hooking me here.
Yeah.
He was taking the substitutions seriously. The Dubs were just rolling on and off, but Kerr was doing it as part of a plan. So
you're the Eamon Taff, Daniel, if you know the reference of the off-the-ball football.
Right. No.
Came off the bench in the 1995 All-Ireland hurling final for Clare, scored a goal, and then was taken off.
Yeah. No, I scored, and then I just ran to the sideline, and that was it. But poor Johnny Ward got a 5.
Was that harsh?
It was a bit harsh. Johnny.
What was the lowest score somebody got?
Nathan got a 1. Nathan Murphy got a 1. And,
I wonder there's no byline.
I think that will hurt him.
Lucky to get it.
But the Dubs gave it a go, because they had been their team talk had basically been delivered by Kilban last week. You know, he'd questioned, like Philip Egan got slaughtered. I mean, McIntyre got it really bad.
Well, I think
Adrian Barry.
Adrian Barry and McIntyre, Kev said last week, I mean, they're similar in that they'll both try really hard, but once they get the ball, disaster.
Disaster, yeah. And so the Dubs actually were competitive enough early, but I think because of, you know, Kev's comments, there was almost surprise when they did things that were vaguely competent.
Dan McDonnell, 8 out of 10. McDonnell put his reputation on the line in this match.
Yeah,
a tough taskmaster when it comes to analysing players on the football show. He led by example, was comfortable and creative in possession. His cool finish for the Colchie's second goal, one of the many moments of class from the Indo scribe. Did you write this?
I you know, that is, it's a bit dodgy. Like
Nathan Murphy, 1 out of 10. Anyone who's met Nathan will know he talks a good game. His first half performance, so pitiful that it was no surprise he was banished to the commentary box by Brian Kerr. The empty vessel, that's Nathan, made the most noise, but he was, by a stretch, the worst player on the pitch. Is that right?
I thought it was harsh, Nathan. What was Johnny's? I thought Johnny's player rating was pretty good.
Kevin Gilvan, 4. The Irish Centurion was late and at fault for the Dubs' goal after being dispossessed by the classy Owen McMahon. That's the winner of the competition.
The competition winners did well, actually.
The 41-year-old, that's just mean.
There was a couple of other players on the pitch who looked like they had won a competition to play in the game, you know, but the competition winners were...
The 41-year-old capped over 100 times for Ireland. Judging by this display, it's unlikely he'll get a second cap for Team OTB.
Well, it'd be odds against to turn up on the basis of yesterday's disappearance show. But there was some reference to Johnny, like, is having... I think his career choice was called into question, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah, a lot the energy of a horse or the touch of a horse or something like that. I think it was something along those lines, you know. He was offended by it.
People can watch this match. It's on our social media page. I think it's worth watching it just to see how poor the quality of the
pitch had to be extended after 2 minutes because the ball was going out of play too much.
It seemed to me watching the first 2 minutes, like, you know, when you go bowling and you need the things down the side. You could have done with that, I think.
The walls should have come into play or something because the ball was just kept disappearing. But Kerr went round, he started collecting balls, he was just doing the whole thing, running the show.
Giles just wanted out early on,
Giles saw what he was working with and he realised there was only so much he could do.
John, we're distracting from your perfectly crafted news round. Where are we going next?
I think a bit of tennis, lads. Andy Murray at the start of another gruelling rehabilitation process after undergoing hip resurfacing surgery. The two-time Wimbledon champion had a procedure which involved putting a metal plate into the joint in a final bid to prolong his career. The former world number 1 intends to retire after this year's Wimbledon. Mary Immaculate have secured a home quarter-final in hurling's Fitzgibbon Cup. Clare's Colin Guilfoyle grabbed 1-3 in the Limerick Cottages' 122 to 12-point win over Maynooth University. Set to face now Cork IT or Waterford IT in the last 8. Offaly's Niall McNamee has come out of inter-county retirement. The faithful former captain, who last played in the qualifier defeat to Cavan in 2017, is back in training with John Mahan's panel. McNamee is recovering from an injury suffered with his club Road in the Leinster Club Championship, but he's close to returning to action. The Cork ladies football legend Breach Stack says there's still plenty of ability left in her panel. The 2016 Player of the Year recently retired from the inter-county career when she landed 11 All-Ireland winners' medals. Stack thinks it won't be long before the Rebelettes lift the Brenton Martian Cup again.
Well, look, obviously, there's fantastic talent still in that Cork team. And, like even last year, I think we counted up that there was something like 67 All-Ireland medals in that team last year. None of them have stepped away. There's a lot of minors that are after coming on board. I think even the experience of last year's final alone, I think everyone could appreciate it for the fantastic display of football that it was, and the strength and the speed. Like the speed was just phenomenal, like up and down the pitch. And I just think they'll learn a lot from it. Those younger girls will definitely take a lot of substance from it. And I can definitely see bright things in the future. And hopefully another All-Ireland captured in years to come.
We're going to play some of that chat this evening. It was in Croke Park ahead of the football getting underway at the weekend. And Breed Stack was actually in with Dave and Nathan last Thursday. It's well worth the watch back. She was in good form. Last story or two, John?
Ken Boy and Road to Respect among 13 horses still in contention for the Unibet Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown on Sunday, of course, part of the Dublin Racing Festival. The William Mullins trained Ken Boy ran out an impressive winner of the Savills Chase over the course and distance in December, dominating from the front under the inspired ride from David Mullins. Mullins also has Savills Chase fourth, Bells Hill, Album Photo and Total Recall in the mix for race he's won on a record 9 occasions. Noel Meade's Road to Respect will spearhead a strong team for Jigginstown. Gordon Elliott's pair Alpha Des Oboe and Outlaw Outlander and the Henry de Bromhead trained Balco de Flo all left in. Last year's winner Ed Wolf also remains among the entries. And Apple's Jade among 6 horses remaining in Saturday's BHP Insurance Irish Champion Hurdle. Gordon Elliott's Brilliant Mare unbeaten in 3 starts so far this season, with her last outing a 26 lengths victory in the Christmas Hurdle. And the last 2 winners of this race, Henry de Bromhead's Petit Mouchoir and Super Sunday from Jessica Harrington's yard, also remain among the decks.
John Duggan, beautifully done.
Lads, it was just an absolute privilege.
Precise.
A privilege for us all, I feel.
I will go and take my blazer off now.
This Friday, are you down at this? I don't think you are. Everybody else is. This Friday, we're in Clonmel, previewing Cheltenham, a special Bulmer's Road to Gold event in the Clonmel Park Hotel. There will be, at pre-matches, Barry Murphy, live music from Smash Hits, a DJ set from Vogue Williams, David Brady, just being David Brady, Jer, Johnny Ward, Nina Carberry, Kate Harrington. It's an eclectic lineup, I would say.
I got my pass in the post today.
Is that right?
For Cheltenham for the 18th year.
Very nice, yeah.
Are you going the weekend? Are you at Leopardstown the weekend?
I'm in here the weekend, so I'm keeping my powder dry for my 18th trip to Prestbury Park and the madness that will ensue.
Good. Well, if you want to be part of the madness in Clonmel this Friday, tickets are all gone. This thing sold out, naturally. I mean, David Brady, Vogue Williams, the lads. Johnny, we're giving you the chance to win a pair of tickets to the event if you're around to go on Friday. All you have to do is answer this question. Who was David Brady's manager for the infamous 1996 All-Ireland final and replay against Meath? So who was the Mayo manager for the 96 All-Ireland? Text us your name and your answer. 53106 will announce the winner before the end of tonight's show. Obviously, you have to be free to go this Friday to Clonmel Park Hotel. It's the Bulmer's Road to Gold event, February 1st, this Friday. So who was the Mayo manager in 96? Name and answer to 53106. We're taking a short break. We're going to round the Premier League grounds next.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Many diets you say based on cutting out bread, rice, potatoes and pasta, but you're saying they're actually essential for maintaining a healthy diet.
Absolutely, because they give you fibre and they give your body an easy kind of energy to work off. So if you